opening this weekend at Buffalo's Alleyway Theater, The Life and Slimes of Marc Summers, the man probably best known for being the ringmaster of chaos for the Nickelodeon game show Double Dare and the gentle guide behind the scenes of all manner of culinary delights on Food Network's Unwrapped. That is only part of his story that he's sharing on stage all this month, and we had the chance to chat with him about his tell-all show before the curtain goes up. Well, this is your life, is what I feel like, being on this stage and talking about this show.
Yep.
How do you describe it?
Well, there's a certain fan base that I have, people growing up with me on the Nickelodeon world and then Food Network world, and they have expectations when they come here. Well, when they see this set, it's, you know, it's Double Dare, no question about it, and we do select people from our studio audience and do things to come on stage, but we also talk about the journey and how to get from point A to point B, and that I was always, it seems, overcoming obstacles. People telling me, no, you don't have the look to be a host, you're not good enough to be a host. And then I become a host, but in the middle of all that, I get cancer 3 times. I'm in a car accident where I break every bone in my face. And probably the craziest thing is I'm hosting the messiest show on TV and find out that I have something called obsessive compulsive disorder. And I like everything neat and clean and orderly. And guess what? That's not what that show is about.
I think one of the things that, you talked about all the things that you've been through. I think when you were talking about it originally, now people talk about things so much more. People weren't really talking about it then. And
yes.
How did that affect you and your career?
A lot. When I was the first person to come out and talk about obsessive compulsive disorder, and all of a sudden I'm on the Today Show and I'm talking with Oprah and I'm on Howard Stern, and the word was out. Well, the word was out prior to that I was going to host the next version of Hollywood Squares. And when I came out talking about my OCD, guess what? I was no longer going to be the host of Hollywood Squares. And the reputation was that I was crazy and possible to work with. None of that was true. But because nobody knew what OCD was when I started talking about this in 1999, or even before that, 96 is when I think I originally talked about it, it scared the hell out of people. And so I have a line in my act where I said, how has Howie Mandel gotten away with this all these years? Howie's been the exception. He's a good friend and he's a wonderful guy, but somehow he got a pass, and I didn't. And there were a couple of years there where I didn't work, and it was pretty frightening. But I was able to come back and make things happen. But this show takes a lot out of me, and depending on the night and the audience, I tend to break down on stage once or twice. I get very emotional because although I've lived it many times now, it's hard. It really is hard.
How do you push through that when you've had all of these challenges all the way along? What keeps you moving on?
I don't know the answer to that. I think I was born that way. I just think I had this passion of entertainment. I was obsessed with Johnny Carson when I was 11 years old. He was doing a game show called Who Do You Trust? And I'm in Indianapolis, and I think, well, how the hell do I get on television? And then I find out that Johnny started his career as a magician. And I thought, well, I'm a pretty hard worker, so I decided to become a magician. And that got me in front of an audience. And I started doing birthday parties. And the next thing I know, I talked myself onto a TV show, kids TV show in Indianapolis. And the next thing I know, I'm doing a radio show at age 15, WVMP FM in Elwood, Indiana. In fact, when I left that show, Dave Letterman took my place, which is crazy. So I just have weird stories in my life. And I just always, keep moving forward. I've never worked a day in my life. I've always had fun.
I'm going to ask you a question because I could sit here and talk to you all day because I love listening to all of your stories, but I love to ask this ridiculous question to people who I know are funny people and enjoy comedy. If you were to have an animal defend you in a court of law as your attorney,
what a great question.
Which one would you choose?
Well, it'd be a porcupine. Because
zero hesitation.
It would have to be a porcupine because if you pissed off the porcupine, he would shoot quills at you and convince you that maybe you should change your mind. So, I mean, that's the only animal that makes any sense whatsoever,
Well, hopefully it never comes to that.
No.
But just in case, you'll keep one on retainer.
I'm trying to think if I've ever really seen a porcupine, but maybe in a zoo or something, but I just know what they do. But how funny. That's a great question. Best question I've ever been asked.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you. Thank you for your time. We so appreciate it, and best of luck with the rest of the
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Life and Slimes of Marc Summers is at the Alleyway Theater from September 9th through the 30th. You'll find details about tickets and showtimes at alleyway.com. This is Kate Welsh Chauffeur. Be well, stay well. We will see you next time.